The longest time I spent with him was as a teenager. I was probably 16-ish. He took myself and my first cousin on a trip where I know we went to Mexico City. And I believe we went to San Francisco and maybe even Arizona on that trip because his other son lived in Arizona. And we spent, it was at least a 10-day trip. It might have been longer. I don't, it's one of those things I wish I could say, hey, why did you want to go on this trip with the grandkids? I don't know. Maybe he felt that he just hadn't spent enough time with us and wanted to spend some more time. But that was a very interesting trip. I mean, many interesting things on that trip. We apparently have or had relatives in Mexico City, which we visited when we were there. On the trip, that extended trip to Mexico and other places, actually it's kind of a cute memory. I was 16 and grew up in a family where, from a very young age, if my parents were having wine with dinner, they'd let me have a little wine, which I'd take a little sip of and that type of thing. Well, my grandfather would have schnapps before dinner. And I have to say I had no clue what schnapps was and probably still don't. But he'd say, do you want to have schnapps with me? So every night before dinner, we'd have schnapps together, which I could barely, get more than a tongue feel on because it was very strong. But we did at that point sit and talk some, and I just don't remember much of what we talked about. Just don't remember it.
Did he speak English very fluently?
Oh, very, very fluently, yeah. No issues at all. I'm excited. We're going to Mexico and I'm going to try some new food. It's going to be really different. It's going to, it's like probably the first, maybe the first time, certainly the first time, no, not really true, because I'd been to Haiti and some places. One of the first times I'd been out of the country. So we're going out for dinner the first time. Where are we going? To a Jewish deli. And I get Soupa de Pollo con bol de matzo, matzo ball soup in Spanish. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I did think it was interesting because I finally went off on my own, asked the people at the hotel where was a good restaurant that served Mexican food because no one else wanted to go with me. So I think we had Italian food and Jewish deli the whole time we were in Mexico City.